Hello, welcome back to Unknown and Talented. My name is Jelan Abrams, and nobody told me before I started this podcast that I'm gonna have to buy some shirts. We're on episode 11. I've been wearing different shirts every single episode, and I'm running out. Even the shirt I have on right now is a little short. I'm just like going in my closet, like, yo, what do I have that I did not wear yet? So if y'all see next episode, I'm wearing a Christmas sweater or a turtleneck or something that's not comfortable, it's because I'm running out of shirts. I might just start going to the store, buying the shirt. The tag's in the back. I can hide the tag. Put put it on, take it off, take it back. I don't know, because right now I am running out of shirts. So if you're watching the visual podcast, you realize that this background's a little different. I'm usually sitting on a couch, but today I decided to change it up. I was doing some research online, and they said that it's better to have a little bit of space between you and the background because it makes it look a little more cinematic. That was the word they've been passing around. And also, thinking about that, you think about the lighting setup. So I have, what we call a 3-point lighting setup. So we have one light on the right side of me. It's called a key light. On the left side of me, it's called a fill light. And then you're supposed to have a light on the back of your head, which is called a backlight. So I'm doing all this research to look better for you. I know I have the visual podcast. I know I have just the regular podcast, but I just want to make sure the visual podcast is worth your while. You're listening to me. Now, when you see it, you're going to see a show. It's not going to just be me talking. So I want to make sure that visually it looks good for you. So I'm always going to look to improve. I'm what you call a student of the game. I'm going to study, get better at it, improve so I can have a better product at the end. And that's what I want to go over today. I want to talk about being a student of the game. This podcast is about entrepreneurship, content creation, self-help, pretty much just to motivate you to do something. And today, I think it's very important to actually be a student of the game, to be knowledgeable. Let's say you want to start a business. You want to make sure you do some research before you start that business. Let's say you want to start creating content. You're going to do a little bit of research before you actually start creating it. And the first way I would say is to pay somebody. Me growing up, before I was doing podcasting, I wanted to be a music producer. I didn't know anything about music. My dad wasn't into music. My mom wasn't into music. Pretty much every Sunday, my dad's playing Bob Marley. That's all I heard, just Bob Marley. So to turn into a music producer, I had to go out and learn something. So, I'm just pressing buttons, figuring out what the heck is going on. I was extremely confused. So what I decided to do, pay for piano lessons. I wanted to get the introduction to what a piano is, the notes, the scales, the keys, what are the white keys, what are the black keys used for. And before I actually learned legit, I didn't know what them black keys. I was like, if you press a black key, you are just too fancy for me. But not knowing those keys are just like those regular keys, the white keys, they just makes different sounds depending on what scale you on. But I needed to learn that. So I was able to pay this lady. I was paying $138 a month, I believe it was. $138 a month to learn piano. And it helped me out. I was able to get that introduction to know what these sounds are, what these keys are, to be able to be a better music producer. So after I learned as much as I can from the piano instructor, I started making beats. I started playing playing chords, playing melodies, playing a lot of different things that I never was able to do before because I knew exactly what to do, what these sounds, what these keys together are going to sound like. And, it helped out a lot. I was able to work with big artists, local artists, artists in different countries, because my sound was good. They enjoyed it because I made sure to do my research, make sure I was knowledgeable in something I wanted to do before I actually started it. Whatever you want to do, they have classes for it. You just can't be afraid to spend that money. You want to be a better speaker, which I need to look into as well doing this podcast, but they have classes for it. You want to be a fashion designer? You want to start selling clothes? They have classes for it. You want to be in real estate? You want to learn how to flip houses? They have classes for it. There are a lot of people that did their research for you, and now they're teaching you so you can do it. So now you just pay them. You're going to learn super quick. You might not have that money to do it, so we have other ways to learn. But if you have that money, you want to learn quick, put the money up, learn how to do it so you can get your results faster. Me, for example, starting this podcast, I needed a way to become knowledgeable on being a podcaster. Yes, they have classes about being a podcaster, but I already know how to talk. It's not like the piano where I didn't know what these keys were. I already know how to talk. I already have the introduction level of what a podcaster is, and that's just talking. So what I decided to do, I decided to study the greats. I decided to study the people that are ahead of the game in podcasting and figured out what they did. Before this podcast, I had a podcast with my friends where we legit just started. We turned the cameras on, talked. Whatever happened, happened. After a while, we was like, yo, we got to make these episodes better. So what did I do? I studied the greats. I think of Joe Budden. I decided studied how he talked, how he was able to change topics, what he did to have a great show. Next is the Breakfast Club. I studied how they were able to get so much good interviews out of these guests that they had, people they didn't even know, and they were able to get really detailed information from these people. And I'm just like, how do they make them so comfortable? So studying that. So for this podcast, I'm studying Les Brown. My dad loves Les Brown. He's a motivational speaker. I'm studying him because I'm out here going to be talking by myself for 20 minutes, 30 minutes sometimes on motivating people. So I have to study them, how they pretty much tell their stories. What do they do to be able to say, yo, this is so deep. This is going to make me get up and move. I have to study him. I'm not going to bite everything he does, but I want to use what he does and pretty much put it in my own words to be able to deliver that message. I think of Eric Thomas. So pretty much his famous line is, if you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, you'll be successful. I remember that video floating around. I'm like, who is this guy with his hat just talking, reading, listening to the whole thing, listening to the whole story? I'm like, yo, this is deep. This is deep. This is crazy. But he continuously does it. And I'm like, yo, this is somebody you need to study. And I even think about just doing one-on-one interviews. I think of David Letterman. He interviewed Jay-Z. He interviewed Kanye West, Cardi B. What has he done to be able to get these famous people on and having these famous people express themselves? Jay-Z doesn't go to everybody's interviews. Kanye doesn't get interviewed by everybody. Cardi B, she doesn't get interviewed anymore. Like, what does he do in these interviews to make these people feel so comfortable to speak to them? Because you got to think about it. They have a lot to lose. They can't just talk to anybody. They can't have me asking questions. Oh, Jay-Z, yo, you cheated on Beyonce, man. Tell me more. Like, you can't have those kind of conversations. You gotta make sure that you're making these people comfortable. So I have to study these people that are able to talk to these famous people. Because one day I want to talk to people famous. The show is Unknown and Talented, but I would love to get Jay-Z on. You know what I'm saying? I would love to get J. Cole, Kendrick, Drake, these people that no one gets a chance to talk to, but you have to make sure you are a student of that game. You're studying what these greats are doing, so when it's your time, you know exactly what to do. An example of studying the greats, Kobe Bryant. Y'all all know Kobe Bryant, famous basketball player. His game was patterned after Jordan. What did he do? He studied the great. And he ended up becoming one of the greats. I'm not saying he took everything from Jordan, but he studied him. He saw Michael Jordan is the best player in the world. What am I going to do to study him and become that player? Kobe is a student of the game. He studies. He studies to the point where he studied the referee handbook. He pretty much found out that we have players, we have coaches, then we have referees. Referees are a part of the game too. So he studied their handbook to find out how he can break these rules. You learn the rules so you can break them. And basically what he learned is that each referee has a spot in the court. So 1, 2, 3. Each referee has a spot. So there's always going to be a dead zone, a little blind spot where a referee is not even paying attention to. So in there he said, I know I can get away with travels. I know I can get away with fouls because nobody's looking at that area. So that's just him being a student of the game, studying those extra people because he knows, yo, I'm be able to get away with stuff. I want to become better. I want to be the best ever. I got to do the extra work. Everybody's not studying the referee handbook. Everybody's not doing that. But Kobe, student of the game, study, knowledge is power. I'm about to study these referees so I can become better. And to stick with sports, I just want to tell you a story about two women that became tennis stars. Their dad was watching a tennis match on TV. This girl won $400,000 in 4 days. He watched that and said, you know what? I'm about to teach my children how to play tennis. So what he did, he taught himself how to play tennis. He learned all the rules. He taught his daughters. His daughters ended up being Serena Williams and Venus Williams. Richard Williams was a student of the game. And his children became the best tennis players in the world. Why? Not because their mom knew how to play, not because their dad knew how to play, not because they came out the womb with a tennis racket. It's because their dad was a student of the game. The dad was very knowledgeable on studying the craft. He decided to teach himself because he said, yo, I want my daughters to make money. I want to make money. I want to be rich. So he was decided to say, yo, I need to be knowledgeable on something that can actually make me money. And that's what you do. You want to be knowledgeable on something that's going to make you money. You have to put in that work to study it. I go back to my childhood. My little sister's Kaya. She was 7 years old at this time. I'm 14. I'm outside playing basketball with my friends. This girl, every other day I'm outside. Hey, can I play with y'all? Hey, can I play with y'all? Hey, can I play with y'all? And I'm like, yo, leave us alone. But she consistently came outside to play with us. Yes, kids back in the day want to go outside to play. I don't know what's wrong with these kids now, but kids back in the day like to go outside and play. But my sister kept bugging us to the point it's like, all right, come on. And then after time, she decided she wanted to play some basketball. So we can't afford a trainer. These trainers are like $100. You know, I say if you want to learn fast, yes, pay the trainer. But if you can't afford the trainer, you got to teach yourself. You got to teach yourself. So you know what I decided to do? I said, all right, you want to play basketball? Let's get real. Let's actually learn this thing. Me, I wasn't good at basketball. I know everybody says back in my day, I used to blah, blah, blah. I wasn't good. I never made a middle school basketball team, never made a high school basketball team. My sister wanted to play basketball, and we can't afford a trainer. So I said, you know what? I'm going to be a trainer. I'm legit on YouTube, studying up, different defensive drills, ball handling, how to become a better shooter, agility stuff, because I want her to become better. I want her to learn how to play this game. To the point where we had like a big notebook full of workouts in there. Because I was just like, yo, every day we work out, we're going to write in this book. So we know, are we really working out? Or are we wasting our time? Actually, I think I actually have that notebook with me, actually. One moment. And I sure do have this notebook. Look at this. I don't know if y'all can see it on screen, but 8/18/13. This book is from, 10 years ago? 5/13/14. Jeez. That's crazy. That's almost that's crazy. But yeah, we have the notebook full of workouts, and we made sure we did it. And then pretty much to the point where she ended up getting a D1 scholarship to play basketball. Why? It's not because I paid somebody. You know what I'm saying? It's because we studied. We studied this thing to become really better. And the last thing you want to do to become knowledgeable, to become really good, to start this business, to start this content creation journey, take action. You have to take action. Knowledge is power. But knowledge without action is useless. What can you do? A head full of knowledge, you know how to do everything, but you're not taking action. You're not starting that business. You're not creating that content. You're not doing nothing. You're just sitting on everything that you know. You have to go out there and make those mistakes. Go out there, try. That's another way to get better. You get better from trial and error. You tried one thing, it doesn't work. You tried another thing, it works. But you never know if you don't try. You can't use all your time on studying, all this time of listening to this podcast, getting all the motivation and not doing nothing with it. Oh man, I'm motivated. Yeah. Good job, Jelan. I like that. You're going to really change my life. And then go back home and chill. It's like, yo, I wasted my breath. So you got to make sure you take action. Whatever you have in your mind, whatever you want to start, whatever you're doing and different things you want to try, you have to take action. I think of this movie called The Founders, pretty much how McDonald's was founded. Basically, a guy stole these two people's business. If you ever seen the movie, look it up. Still look it up. It's still a good movie. But he basically stole the business. These guys were just doing things. They weren't really making enough money as they wanted to. This guy came in and said, try this. Nah, we don't want to try that. I know we're not making the money, but I'm fine where it is. He ended up stealing their business. Why? Because they didn't take action. They pretty much was just sitting there. They got the knowledge from the guy that, what you're doing is not working. It's time to change. They didn't do it. They lost their business. McDonald's, the guy that made all the money for McDonald's, his name is not McDonald. Just to let you know, his name is not McDonald. His name is something totally different. But he took action. He took action to the point where now the people's name that's actually McDonald's, they are not making no money. And they have nothing to do with the business because they didn't want to take action. Do you want to be like that? You have a business idea, you telling all your friends, next thing you know somebody done steals their idea. You're like, oh my gosh, you stole my idea. You wasn't doing nothing with it anyway. You wasn't doing nothing with it. You're just so excited to tell people, I'm about to start a business. You tell them, I got a clothing line, I got a name, I got this, I got that. Next thing you know, man, that's a good idea. take your idea right from under you. You wasn't doing nothing with it. So don't tell me an idea you have for business, because I'm going to look into it and see if it makes money, and I'm going to take your idea because I'm going to take action. So make sure you take action on your own business before somebody else takes action on it. Okay? But then the last thing, if with anything else, once you get this knowledge, make money from it. Right? We're going all the way back to the front. The front, you pay somebody to get knowledge. Once you learn all this stuff, your business could be teach people how to do something you just learned. Isn't that crazy? I did all this research to learn how to do a podcast, start a podcast. Now I can start a business on teaching people how to start a podcast. You don't have to be great to teach people. Let's say my knowledge of podcasts is at a level 5, right? I could teach level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4 podcasting. That's a lot of people. If your knowledge is level 2, you could teach level 1. You're going to be a fashion designer. You don't know much, but you know stuff. You're a level 2 fashion designer. Teach all the level 1 people. You can make a killing off of them. Learn a little more. You're at level 3. Now you can teach 2 and 1. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be a 10. Because a 10, half of this stuff you're teaching, level 1 is not going to know. You have beginner classes, intermediate classes, and you have hard classes. All you want to have is beginner classes. You can make a killing. You can make a killing because you did all these steps to learn. Now you have I just gave you a business idea. Steal it if you want, okay? Steal it. But that's all you got to do. I just recently went to the farmer's market. We were buying some juice. It was this fresh squeezed juice. And, my girlfriend is talking to the lady. And the lady's like, oh, you're interested in this? Oh, guess what? I actually have a class on juicing. This girl learned how to do it. She went through all these steps. She took action, started a business. Now, you want to know more about juicing? Okay, guess what? I got a class. Come on now. My voice is kind of gone right now. So hopefully I got to end this up pretty quick because my voice is a little gone. These are the steps to start, become knowledgeable. Knowledge is power. Like I said, pay somebody. If all else fails, pay somebody. Just to at least get the introduction on how to learn it. You want to go from level 0 to level 1, learn the beginner stuff. And next you know, study the greats. Study anybody that's in that field that's doing what you want to do. Study how they do it. They have interviews out there. If somebody's super famous, they're going to have an interviewer telling you exactly how they did what they did. You got that? The last one is teach yourself. After you get that introduction to knowledge, you got to go out there and teach yourself. Trial and error, figure out what's wrong. Learn it yourself. They got YouTube University nowadays. Teach yourself. And then after that, you got to take action. All the stuff you learn, all that stuff in your mind, you got to take action. Start that business, create that first piece of content, or create that 100th piece of content. Whatever level you up to, make sure you do it. And then after that, make money off it. Start your own business and teaching people how to do what you just learned. Because people are too lazy to do it themselves. So that's all I got for you today. Again, my name is Jelan Abrams, unknown and talented. And next week, we're going to find somewhere to get another shirt because I don't know what to wear next week.